Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast on this beautiful Tuesday in Chicago. Adam Hoge and Mark Carman with you, ready to go as we continue our offseason opponent previews.
I like to actually start out this show, Hoge, with a snidbit, if I may. I have never in my life rode the Metro like I did this morning, earliest snidbit ever, I know, with a conductor who said good morning to literally everybody that got on, gave you a fist bump, smiling, great start to the day, and I just really appreciated that.
Nice.
And so
makes me wish I had taken the train today.
It was lovely. It was almost as lovely as seeing Charlie the Bacon Guy in our chat, our great softball sponsor, 3-0. All right. Big show today. Thank you. Thank you to the conductor for making the morning beautiful.
What was the final score last night?
That was 15-zip.
Who'd you play?
We played Chirp, who apparently...
What's a Chirp?
Well, they're amazing people. They had a great pregame. I loved their practice. I loved their energy. They actually had walk-up songs for each person that was well coordinated. They did everything right except...
Score runs.
They did not chirp. There was no chirping.
Okay.
It wasn't a single chirp.
Or a single.
There was a couple singles. Okay. Chris Pennant plays for them. He's a good player. Outside of that, there wasn't many chirps.
Okay.
See you later, Chirp.
Well, congrats on the victory.
Thank
3-0. Shout out to Charlie the Bacon Guy sponsoring the softball team. We are here today. I'm ready to talk about the Texans.
It's a good show today.
Well, it's a good, exciting game. I wish we could just skip week one almost to just get to this CJ Stroud versus Caleb Williams matchup in week two.
I think we can use that warm-up, or the Bears can use that warm-up.
Yeah, probably.
But yes, it is more. Week two is more exciting on paper than week one. That's for sure.
So yesterday, if you missed it, we talked about the Tennessee Titans. We're going to be gradually breaking down the opponents as we continue to fly through what'll be a very quick, I think, 6 weeks before training camp starts.
Who's counting?
Not going to be doing it every day because there's going to be days where we have some special guests going on. We're going to events like tomorrow is another OTA practice that is open, rookies only. So we will be at Hallis Hall tomorrow, and then of course have a recap show for you following that. I think we're looking at about 2:00 tomorrow. But if you want to start doing your homework and listening, I know I like to spend a lot of the time this year before training camp starts just soaking in previews on teams and opponents and just kind of get as much information as possible on the season. So that's what we're trying to do for you here on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Please hit that like button. Please hit subscribe. Become a diehard. We'll have plenty of diehard content coming your way. And, of course, that applies to all of our teams here at CHGO, not just football. If you're a Cubs fan, we got you covered right now. If you're a suffering White Sox fan, at least throw some money down on the Sox when they're winning 4-0 in the eighth.
Great move.
And cash in on the Mariners.
Congratulations.
You can get all that type of information if you're a diehard here at CHGO and follow all of our great accounts. Before we dive into the specifics and more of the deep dive of the Houston Texans, by the way, the Bears are an early 3-point underdog in this game. We know why this game's on Sunday Night Football. We know why it's getting featured early. Two young, up-and-coming teams. Two young and up-and-coming quarterbacks, one who has already established himself in the league and had an outstanding rookie season last year, CJ Stroud from Ohio State, took the Texans to the playoffs, and then, of course, Caleb Williams for the Chicago Bears. This is the matchup. This is what it's all about, and it's going to be an interesting comparison watching these two all season long, not just week two.
So it's interesting, at least in my mind, that this doesn't really get talked about a whole lot. the Bears made a very, very solid trade. Maybe the greatest trade in franchise history, you could argue, in trading out of the one last year with Carolina, ending up with Caleb Williams and DJ Moore and Tyreek Stevenson. Congrats to Ryan Poles. However, the other side of it that, again, doesn't get talked about a whole lot, at least from my perspective, they did pass, and others' team missed on them too, namely Carolina at 1, and maybe the Bears would have made the same mistake and taken Bryce Young. That's irrelevant, though. They did pass on CJ Stroud, who threw for 4,108 yards on a Texans team that was awful, at least coming into the season. 23 touchdowns, 5 interceptions in 15 games of work. An unbelievable rookie season that if you were a logical betting man, you would say you would take the under on Caleb coming really anywhere close to surpassing CJ Stroud in year 1. So I do think these two quarterbacks we're not just going to be looking at right now or at the end of next year. We're going to be looking at this for a long time as to who was the right choice. And maybe Caleb and CJ will be neck and neck for their careers, which would mean the Bears won the trade by a zillion miles.
Now, you would not have Darnell Wright. You would not have Tyreek Stevenson. You would not have DJ Moore.
Yep.
You could argue you wouldn't have Keenan Allen because the Bears picked up an extra 4th-round pick by moving back to 10, and they ended up with that extra 4th-rounder to take to draft Keenan Allen.
Right.
Or they wouldn't have Torrey Taylor. One of the two.
Right. All true. And if you were to bet right now, will the Bears end up 5 years from now, 10 years from now, looking back on this, liking the trade? I would bet that they will. Mm-hmm. But they still did pass on a guy who looks like he's going to be a mainstay in the NFL, in the top 10 of NFL quarterbacks for a long time.
Yeah.
That's so. It's just it's. I'm not trying to cause any big time controversy. I mean, on June the 11th here, but
why not? We got to do something on June 11th.
Yeah, I mean, look,
you might as well just come out and say it.
Well,
you think Ryan Poles screwed up?
Look. I did not say that. I did not say that. I just said that if Caleb isn't Caleb and CJ is CJ, then the trade was a loss. Period. Sure. I don't care how many players you got.
Are you convinced that CJ is CJ?
So I'm gonna give you a fair answer on that because CJ Stroud played for the Houston Texans last year. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch every Texans game. I didn't watch half the Texans game. So I can't really say that I'm fully convinced.
Yeah.
So I'd have to watch more to be convinced. However, I mean, you look at his numbers last year. CJ, 319 completions, 499 attempts. That's 15 games. All right. So he was averaging a little over 21 completions a game and a little over 33 attempts, basically 2 for 3. Comes out to 64% his completion percentage. 274 yards per game. And again, 23 touchdowns and only 5 interceptions. So we did some homework for you, the CHGO Bears fan. 5 quarterbacks threw for over 24 touchdowns as a rookie. All right, by the way, the over-under this year is 23.5. That's why we got to 24. So
let's slow down and reset that. The over-under on Caleb Williams' touchdown passes this year is 23.5. That seems doable. However, there's this information, which Carm's about to give you, because only 4 rookies ever have gone over on that number. And CJ Stroud was not one of them because he had 23 last year.
Only 5. 5 of them.
5, okay.
So here are the 5. Justin Herbert is your leader in the clubhouse. He threw for 31 in his rookie season on a 7-9 Chargers team. He also did that in 15 games. His leading receiver was
Keenan Allen,
992 yards, followed by Mike Williams and Hunter Henry. So he didn't have 1,000. He had one 1,000-yard receiver. We'll give Keenan the 8 yards. Second was Baker Mayfield on a 7-8-1 Browns team. He played 14 games, started 13. Browns' leading receiver was, no chance you get this unless you're looking, but maybe you do.
Browns' leading receiver in Baker Mayfield's first season.
Jarvis Landry, 976. So another 1,000-yard receiver, barely. But
now
yes.
that, by the way, that name, Baker Mayfield, who's come around and now revitalized his career, and he's been on 4 different teams, is just one of those examples of, and I'm not saying they're comparable, but are you sure you're all in on CJ Stroud?
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Because that does happen. Sometimes there are sophomore dips.
We're going to hit some others that you could say, Are you sure you're all in? Jarvis Landry, 976. David Njoku, 639. And Antonio Callaway was the leading receiver as far as touchdown passes with 5. Next up is Russell Wilson. We're going all the way back to 2012. 26 touchdown passes for Russell on an 11-5 Seahawks team. Leading receiver 2012. Now looking at the rundown so he knows the answer.
Sidney Rice.
Amazing. 748 yards, followed by Golden Tate. Both had 7 touchdown catches apiece. Peyton Manning had 26 in 1998. He also led the league with 28 interceptions that year, which I put in there as the stats because I would love to see the Bears allow Caleb Williams to throw the football. It didn't hurt Peyton Manning in his Hall of Fame career that he threw 28 interceptions as a rookie. I know that would make Bears fans nauseous, but in different era, and tougher for quarterbacks back then, a lot tougher. But again, Hall of Famer, 28 interceptions, worst in the NFL as a rookie. Marshall Faulk was their leading receiver with 908. Second,
this one I actually probably would have gotten because I think I would have guessed him to be number 1.
Okay.
So it's interesting that Marshall Faulk was actually
I wouldn't have gotten
the leader, but Marvin Harrison would be the answer.
776. By the way, the Colts that year, coached by Jim Moore, were 3-13. Anybody want to say playoffs?
Playoffs?
Yeah. And then the last one, to your point, Hoge, about guys that didn't work out. Daniel Jones, 24 touchdown passes, 12 starts. He went 3-9 on a 4-12 team, coached by Pat Shurmur. Leading receiver was, you're looking at it,
Darius Slayton.
740 yards, 8 touchdowns. Golden Tate, second time on here, with a robust 676 yards and 6 touchdown catches as well. Interesting, Golden Tate twice, Seahawks and
So I got to be
Giants.
honest, I'm a little confused with all this information.
Yeah.
Because I think the point is that not a lot of rookie quarterbacks actually throw for 24 touchdowns.
That is the overall point.
But of the 5 that have done it,
It doesn't guarantee that you're going to the Hall of Fame.
3 of them are pretty damn good. One's a solid starter, and 1 is bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's interesting when I look at CJ, and we brought this up a while ago when we were doing some quarterback stuff, but CJ's first 2 games, the Texans allowed him to throw the ball a ton. 44 in his first game, 47 in his second game. That's insane. The Bears are not going to do that. But, you go into his season, and he had a 4-game stretch last year, Stroud did, week 9 to week 12, where he threw for 1,466 yards. So, that's just big time. Every one of them was over 300 yards. He had a near 500-yard game in there. 10 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. They went 3-1. They had wins over Tampa, Cincy, and Arizona, and they lost a tight one to Jacksonville. So he, in the middle of his season before he got hurt, he was cooking.
So, and Scottish Bear in the comments here brings up a name that came up in our pre-show meeting too. Mac Jones had a passer rating of 92.5 with 3,800 passing yards, 22 touchdowns, and 13 interceptions in 17 games in his rookie season and made the playoffs. He says that's a better comparison. I'm not sure we're comparing him to, I guess, CJ Stroud. First of all, CJ Stroud's good. But I think it is fair to at least bring up examples like that to be like, are we sure he's not going to have a dip here in his second year? Because I think that's a fair thing that maybe could potentially happen. So just something to keep in mind. I think, though, when you watch CJ Stroud, especially late in the season and in some of those bigger games that he played in, dude was clutch. And I love that he didn't throw a lot of interceptions.
Right.
I get that you can bring up Peyton Manning throwing 28 interceptions as a rookie. That's the exception to the rule. I don't want to see Caleb Williams throw anywhere near 20 interceptions.
It would suck. It would absolutely suck. And he's not going to do that. Totally different era.
I could give you a totally different research project, but if you looked at all the rookies that threw that many interceptions in their rookie season, I'm guessing all of them but Peyton Manning suck.
How many do you think Favre threw as a rookie?
I don't know. Maybe look that up. In the meantime, I'm going to tell you about Prize Picks. But don't do that argument.
Why not?
Well, just bring up the Hall of Famers. How many did Favre throw?
Hold on.
As a rookie.
Brett Favre led the NFL in interceptions his third year, which is his first year starting 16 games with 24.
Okay.
I'll give you another one. I mean, the eras matter here. The game is so much easier now for quarterbacks and whatnot. Dan Marino in his first season starting 16 games through 17. Let me look up.
I'm just guessing there's not a ton.
You're going to be right. You're going to be right.
Let's just start at 20 plus interceptions when they're making the Hall of Fame.
Montana threw 15.
Yeah, I think that's a more acceptable number for me.
Yeah.
And even that's relatively high because we're talking about almost one a game, which we don't want to see.
You also Montana in 87 when he was 10-1 as a starter. Mm-hmm. Sorry, Steven. 31 interceptions.
Yeah.
I got that wrong. I'm sorry, 13. Never mind. I was looking at his touchdown passes. Excuse me. Back to you, Hoge, and Prize Picks, which is awesome.
In the meantime, check out Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members. Think about that. 5 million people are using Prize Picks. You should be one of them. It's the most fun and exciting way to get in on the action while you watch your favorite sports and players. You just pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. It's that easy. With Prize Picks, you can take $10, you can turn it into 1,000 in a single game watching your favorite sports this summer. You can make a Prize Picks lineup in as little as 60 seconds. You just need to pick more or less. Again, you can take 2 to 6 player stats projections, more or less. That easy. You're locked in. And if you're looking for promotions, Prize Picks has you covered every single week, from lowering select players' stat projections on Tuesdays. Today's Tuesday. Which increases your chance of getting a win, to getting your entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. So you can take advantage of that on Fridays. And the finals mean more on Prize Picks, and so do the star players. You get boosted payouts on select basketball stars that you won't find anywhere else. Prize Picks, super easy to use, super fun, makes these games more fun to watch, and it's all about entertainment. You want to check it out right now. Download the app today. Use code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CHGO for a first deposit match up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
And it's grilling season. Get your pork. People who are active need more protein than the average American. In fact, the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics, Dietitians of Canada, and the American College of Sports Medicine recommend 1.2 to 2.0 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day for athletes like me, depending on your training, which, of course, mine's very intense. For a 150-pound person, that's about 81 to 136 grams of protein per day. 1 3-ounce serving of pork provides 23 grams of high-quality protein that can help active individuals build and preserve muscle. The International Society of Sports Nutrition recommends that people who are involved in general fitness programs or who are interested in optimizing their health eat low-fat, high-quality sources of protein, which include lean cuts of pork. So elevate your protein game with lean pork, a powerhouse of natural goodness. Savor the flavor, savor the gains, and celebrate any occasion by enjoying the best pork produced by Illinois pig farmers. From your sausage and bacon for breakfast to pulled pork or juicy chops hot off the grill, it's an entire season dedicated to pork and the people behind the product. This is paid for by the Illinois pork producers. Generations of commitment. All right. Hey, quickly, Hoge, on your interceptions for a rookie. Peyton at the top ever, 28 in 1998. All right. Hall of Famer Terry Bradshaw is third on the list, 24 in 1970.
Okay.
Jim Zorn, who had a hell of a career, through 27. And then, you get into the Deshaun Kaisers, and then you get into the Steve DeBergs with 22. But, of more recent note, Matthew Stafford threw 20 in 2009. Andrew Luck had 18 in 2012. He also set the record for rookie yards in a season throwing the football that year. Troy Aikman had 18 in 1989. So,
I completely blacked out when you said Jim Zorn had a hell of a career.
Jim Zorn had a decent career, did he not?
What do you think his career completion percentage was?
54.
53.
Okay.
That sucks.
It's a different era.
It's a sucky era.
You know what?
Do you know what his record was?
What was Terry Bradshaw's completion?
What was Jim Zorn's record?
Listen, you weren't alive to enjoy Jim Zorn.
I was not, thank God.
Yeah, all right. Well, you missed out. Jim Zorn was a fun lefty to watch.
You know what? I actually do remember 1987 when he had one game and one start for Tampa.
Yeah. Okay. Listen.
Completed 55.6.
Listen, young Hoge. Do you know what Terry
passes that day?
Terry Bradshaw's career completion percentage was 51.9. So take that, Hogelicious. And to the vegans that are texting me, you eat what you eat, others eat what they eat.
Yeah. So, in conclusion, Justin Fields greater than Terry Bradshaw. That actually does put things in perspective.
Okay. Just what does put things in perspective is that it is completely different in playing football right now. And by the way, if you want to name names of players who were great and didn't turn out great, I remember a guy who threw for 3,223 yards. He went 11-3 as a starter. He threw 24 touchdowns. He only threw 12 interceptions. He went to the playoffs that year. He should have won a playoff game. He led a late drive that should have resulted in points, and he ended up being a career backup. You know what I'm talking about?
No.
That would be Mitchell K. Trubisky.
Oh. See, he went 11-3. Oh, that wasn't his rookie year though.
No, it was his second year.
Yeah,
I
bent the rules.
I bent the rules.
Yeah.
But he looked like he was on the path to something. A little bit, if you were just looking at the numbers at least.
Okay, let's talk more about the Texans.
Yes, back to the Texans. Yeah. Here we go.
And what they look like now as they head into year 2 under this regime. Nick Caserio, he's been there for a minute at this point, but D'Amico Ryan's going into year 2 as the head coach. Bobby Slowick, who got a ton of press and hype last year for what he did with that offense, for what he did with CJ Stroud, got a bunch of head coaching interviews out of that as well. Their defensive coordinator is Matt Burke. And, of course, they went 10-7 last year, made the playoffs, beat the Colts in the last game of the season to get in, and then fell to the Baltimore Ravens in the division round. But it was a very, very good season for the Houston Texans. They went 10-7. So, naturally, the over-under on wins, 9.5. A full win above the Bears, who are at 8.5. So that's sort of all reflected in the spread, too. Texans is an early 3-point favorite, which is, kind of close to a push when you factor in home field advantage, which isn't quite 3 points anymore, but still in the neighborhood. It's going to be a fun game. So what have they done this offseason to improve their situation, to make things better for CJ Stroud? Because it's pretty impressive what he did last year.
Let's just go get one of the best receivers in the game.
Yeah.
Why don't we do that? And also let's get a guy that the Bears should have signed.
Well, look, I think you're giving Stefon Diggs a little too much credit there.
Really?
Because the Bills couldn't wait to get rid of him. And I'd like you to go ahead and look up what Stefon Diggs really was, especially the second half of last season. Now, I'm not doubting his talent, and I would also say that getting him out of Buffalo and in a new place will at least temporarily boost his stock back up, and I would imagine in that offense with higher motivation and happiness, he will be much better. But let's not pretend that Stefon Diggs has been, a perfect player as of late.
Okay, we can do the as of late thing, but in his 4 years in Buffalo, just for the record, and I know we're not here to have a Stefon Diggs argument. I think we would, by the way, agree. But in his 4 years in Buffalo, those last 4 years, he's first in the NFL in receptions with 445. He's fourth in the NFL in touchdown catches with 37. He's fourth in the NFL in receiving yards with 5,372. Is a big-time player. And he's also been, according to my deep dive on their OTA work, I think I actually felt like I went down to Houston and watched them because I'm scouting everybody like the leader that I am. They're loving him down there. CJ is throwing all the flowers his way.
Because they got to keep him happy.
Gary Ross in the chat. Diggs isn't me guy, but one of the top wide receivers. That's why I love him, Gary.
You're the Stefon Diggs of this show.
I'll take that. I will. Please let me be the Stefon Diggs of the show. Dude's making all the money and making people better, man. He's got Nico Collins there. He's got Tank Dell. He's got CJ. I think he's going to be pretty good.
Now, if you want to make, if you want to do the Bears should have signed that guy.
Yeah. Not him.
What?
Danielle Hunter.
Yeah, Danielle Hunter.
Danielle Hunter, thank you.
That's what you were saying.
Yes.
Oh, it came. So I heard it as you wanted them to sign Stefon Diggs.
Oh, that would have been good too.
Yeah, which they traded for him, but yeah. Danielle Hunter. Yep. That would have been a thing they could have done, and we'll see how those resources are allocated elsewhere. But look, two sexy additions, we'll call it. One on offense, one on defense. And also two that you can easily point to and be like, these guys are on the backside of their careers. Are they going to provide the value of what their contracts were? Hunter got paid big.
I thought he got a 2-year deal. Am I wrong about that?
Danielle Hunter?
I thought it was a 2-year deal for 27 off the top of my head. 49. 2 years for 49. Sorry, I had it a little high.
Yeah.
24 and a half.
$24.5 million a year.
$21 million signing bonus. I would have done it.
I'm just saying, though, there's a very decent chance that where he's at in his career, that by next year they're going, I don't know, she's spending $24.5 million on the guy.
It's fair, but it's only 2 years, and he's 29 years old. I mean, I don't know. I like that move for the Texans. I get that let me tell you this. If I could pay Danielle Hunter the 2-year 50 and or have Tremaine Edmonds, give me Hunter all day long.
Okay.
If we want to play that revisionist history.
They also added Joe Mixon to the running back room. Their key draft picks included, because they ended up not having a first rounder. A lot of Minnesota Vikings connections here, but they made that trade with the Vikings. Of course, Stefon Diggs played for the Vikings. Danielle Hunter came over from Minnesota. They end up with Kamari Lassiter, cornerback out of Georgia. Blake Fisher, offensive tackle from Notre Dame. And in the third round, they took Kalen Bullock, the safety out of USC. So, no massively, it's solid additions, I think, in the draft, but no one that's, they're not sitting there having this Caleb Williams, Roman Dunze love going on right now. But, hey, this is a good team. Seems like a good coaching staff. Going to be playing at home in week 2. It's going to be a tough tough opportunity for the Bears. We put up a poll on CHGO Bears, our Twitter account. 3.5-point underdogs. What do you think happens? Bears win. Bears lose but cover the +3, or the Bears don't cover. What do you think right now is the leader?
I'm going to go with Bears win.
Yeah, well, naturally, it's a Twitter poll. However, the next highest vote is Bears don't even cover. 35.5.
Well, Texans,
35.1% of voters.
I mean, Texans' fear is real. It's a team that was in the playoffs, won a divisional playoff game. I mean, they did get smoked by the Ravens when they got to the upper levels, but, I mean, Texans have turned things around rapidly. And God bless him for everything Lovie Smith did on his way out the door. We thank you, Lovie, forever and always. Greatest coach in the history of the Bears.
Well, things certainly did work out for the Houston Texans based on – actually, let's talk about that here in a second, just quickly, because the Texans were going down a road that was very, very bad. And I think another example of why sometimes lucking into your quarterback can change everything. But first, let's thank our friends at WhirlyBall, an outstanding place. If you've never tried WhirlyBall, you got to do this. I know it sounds a little off the wall when we talk about it, but whether you are, here's the thing about WhirlyBall. I did this as a kid. We did birthday parties there. Loved it as a kid. I didn't even realize that until I became an adult that it's like even more of an adult thing. It's an outstanding thing to do on a night out. A combination of basketball, lacrosse, and hockey, all while driving a bumper car.
We did it for my brother's birthday, and he was like, let's all be really nice out there and have a good time. And then people were cracking into him. He's like, what the hell are you doing? Well, you chose it, buddy.
Yeah.
Coming for you.
It's your birthday, and you're going to get rammed with this bumper car. The most fun you can have going 4 miles per hour. The Bucktown location, go check it out. 3 WhirlyBall courts, 12 bowling lanes. That includes lane-side service, so you don't have to run and get your own drinks. They'll bring them to you. 2-story laser tag arena as well. Private event spaces and 45,000 square feet of fun. There's also a location in Vernon Hills that you can check out. 32 craft beer taps, craft cocktails, and upscale bar food. Booking with WhirlyBall is as easy as an intentional walk. Just go to whirlyball.com/CHGO and just click that button right there. Book now. Purchase an hour WhirlyBall. You'll get 30 minutes of bowling for free. You must book with a private event to redeem. Book now at whirlyball.com/CHGO.
And we've got a golf outing that we would love to have you come and enjoy. That's right, July 22nd. It's the inaugural Cookout Classic Golf Tournament presented by Miller Lite, Shady Rays, Circus Sports Illinois. It's at St. Andrews Golf and Country Club. It's the course 2, by the way, which is where you can get out there and either A, embarrass yourself, or B, dominate, depending on your skill level. You can sign up as an individual, a twosome, a foursome. Your entry fee gets you 18 holes with a cart. It's a 4-person scramble. There's a tee gift for every player. There's a token for a complimentary Miller Lite. There's hole contests. There's great giveaways and prizes for contest holes. There's a complimentary spiked Arnold Palmer. You get one of those each. There's a lunch. There's a ceremony. And then there's a cash bar after that for alcoholic beverages as well. Individual hole and tournament sponsorships are available if you want to do that. Contact our guy Spencer Smith for more info. Spencer at ALLCITYNetwork.com. Spencer at ALLCITYNetwork.com. Can't wait to see you on July the 22nd, as that is in the middle of the training camp. So Hoge's going to training camp, and I'll be golfing. I'm not sure. We haven't worked that one out yet.
No, we really haven't.
I'll be golfing that day.
I have no idea.
I am ditching you guys. I'm sorry. It's happening.
I think upper management's going to get involved in that one.
We're going to send Braggs to training camp, and
it's not an open practice.
We're going to send Braggs to training camp. We'll have him ride the Metro behind the actually, when he won't have to ride the Metro, we'll have him stand on the tracks and dodge the trains and report back. I think that's the plan.
All right, so this Texans team just a couple years ago, they had Deshaun Watson, that whole thing.
Great trade.
Which even before the allegations came out, he was unhappy with the organization. They weren't very good. They had. Do you remember the name Jack Easterby?
I do.
The team chaplain and coaching counselor guy who somehow had like all this power and was like almost running the organization.
Yep.
So, boy, they got this thing back on track. Because Nick Caserio was in New England for a long time. And there was like all these opportunities, seemed like every year. He can go run his own thing. Was he ever going to leave the Patriots? And he finally does. And this very quickly looked like it was going down a bad path. And all of a sudden, they make a great hire with DeMeco Ryans. They, quite frankly, luck out because, you hear even on Adam Schefter's podcast last week, he believes the Texans would have drafted Bryce Young if they had ended up with the number 1 pick. And not only did they lose it in that last game that the Bears benefited from, but they also tried to trade up back into number 1, and the Bears ended up going with the Panthers deal. So they get lucky. And they end up with their quarterback. And just like that, they're in the playoffs. So I think it's more – there's a couple things there. But one is if you want to spin it towards the Bears and say all it takes is finding that guy, no matter how bad things look, no matter how dark things look. The Texans thing was off the rails. And I feel like people almost forget that now because of how quickly it turned around.
Well, I have this good comment here by Charlie Ruby. Houston also paired him with the Defensive Rookie of the Year and Will Anderson. And at the time, when they traded up, to pick, what did Anderson go, top 3, right? He was third overall. I mean, people were like, are you nuts? And then a couple others, it felt like the minority to me, saying they're getting their quarterback and the best defensive player in the draft back-to-back. It's worth the risk. And again, Defensive Rookie of the Year, 7 sacks. Looks like he's going to be a player. So they did a lot of they had some luck, and they also were pretty damn ass aggressive. So that's why they were able to turn it from the bottom of the NFL to being a playoff team last year, and not just to being a playoff team. It's one thing to get in, but to win a game. I mean, you're getting towards the upper echelon. I'm not saying they're going to stay there. Volatile as the league is, but you do have your quarterback. And that defense isn't too shabby, and you're adding on to it. So,
yeah, that was the offensive and defensive Rookie of the Year. Yeah. I was just looking this up. I didn't realize it's happened 4 times.
Is that right?
Random trivia here, but 2022 it happened.
2022.
Yeah, sorry for throwing this off course, but this was just interesting.
Wait, so it happened back-to-back years?
Yeah.
So that's Garrett Wilson.
Yeah.
And
Sauce Gardner. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
So, to your point, though, the GM flipped that around in one season.
Yeah.
When you get two players at a premium on each side of the ball that could flip the team around like that, it's hard to do, rare. Even at the top of the draft, you don't always hit.
So the Bears would have been a prime candidate to do that this year, make it 3 in a row, but they drafted 2 offensive players.
Yeah.
But if they both have the same impact, that could, just think about it like that, it could have a huge impact on the offense.
Wouldn't that be amazing if Rome caught, 68 balls for 1,000 yards, and yet it was a big debate of who should be the Rookie of the Year between Caleb and Rome? I'd be down for that conversation. Let's go.
Is there any? There's really no scenario in which Rome would win Rookie of the Year over Caleb in that situation. Unless Tyson Bagent was the one throwing him the balls.
How about this? If Rome led the Bears in receiving yards, let him.
It's still Caleb throwing him the ball. That means Caleb had a big year.
Let's say that Rome led the Bears in receiving yards and Caleb threw a bunch of interceptions. You'd have a shot.
He had your Peyton Manning season you're talking about?
Not quite as you're 28. I don't want you losing your mind.
Yeah.
But, say he threw 22. Rome's got 1,100 yards. I think Rome gets it.
Okay.
That's not what I wouldn't pick that. But you're right. It's going to be very hard for Rome to climb up the Rookie of the Year mountain with considering that he's playing with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
I got another random question for you guys. Which wide receiver core would you rather have moving forward right now, the Texans or the Bears?
Good question, Steven. Our snidbit of the show.
All right, let me look a little bit deeper into their depth chart. I mean, we know who they have off the top, but because I think, to me, my instinct immediately said Bears, but Nico Collins just got paid. They do have Stefon Diggs, and you guys know how I feel about Tank Dell, who we haven't talked about a ton lately on the show. They also have John Mechie, draft pick from a couple years ago that, was dealing with some health issues. And I didn't even realize this till right now. Your guy Ben Skoranek is now a Houston Texan.
He's fighting for a special team spot, baby. They traded for this Skoranek. Hashtag go Cats. Hashtag should never have gone to Notre Dame. Don't worry about it. I'm okay with it. It's fine. Loser.
And Robert Woods is on that roster too. Going forward, though.
Nico and Tank are about 24 years old. Nico had 1,300 yards last year. I mean, they got two dudes under 25. Bears have one. DJ ain't old, though. Keenan is. I don't know. I think I'd probably, right now, I think I'd probably lean Texans, but it's awful close.
I mean, I'm going to take Bears.
Okay.
And that's because I think of all the...
Tyler Scott?
No. Who do you... If you're just going off the word trust...
Yeah.
Stefon Diggs is going to come behind the top three Bears receivers.
I don't think you can put him behind Keenan because Keenan's...
You're talking about one of the most trustworthy wide receivers in the league.
I know, but he's 3 years older.
I'm not saying... That's not what I said. I'm not
year?
ranking them overall. I'm saying in terms of guys that you could trust going forward.
Well, if you're saying going forward, I mean, how many years are we talking? Although Keenan, to his credit, I mean, he's saying he wants to play as long as he possibly can. So maybe there's plenty of gas left in that tank, at least in his mind.
There's still those injury concerns with Keenan from earlier in his career.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if those resurface. I think I would take Diggs over Keenan.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah. And then things get a little murkier. I think I go DJ Moore over Nico Collins, and then Rome Odunze is the question mark over Tank Dell. Tank Dell had an amazing rookie year, got injured, missed the tail end of the season, but we don't know what Rome Odunze is yet. I think we're all really hopeful and think that he will be great, but Tank Dell's already a known commodity.
Okay, so Diggs' contract's up.
Same thing with Keenan.
Yeah, that was part of the deal when he got traded to the Texans.
He shortened his contract,
yeah, they voided there would have been one additional year of the contract. It's up after the season.
So, I mean, that lends more credence to why, from a fantasy perspective, I would probably be buying on Stefon Diggs this year.
High motivation.
But going forward, I'm not sure there's a huge difference between Diggs and Keenan Allen.
I'm going to take Diggs.
Okay.
But...
Well, you love your Texans.
You know, I mean, Stefon Diggs is a beast, man. You're not... He's an emotional dude. I mean, if I was watching him every week, I'd probably get bogged down. They're not... It's only a 2-year age difference, really. I don't know. It's awful close. It's an awful close conversation, which, by the way, for the record, let's just celebrate that. The Bears wide receiver crew has been so unbelievably nauseous since, dating back to Brandon Marshall, running around with that crew. Now they're back in the picture where you can actually have an argument that the Bears receivers are just as good as one of the better receiving groups in the league. Yeah. That's a major stride.
Yeah, that's I mean, makes you excited about the season.
It does.
Yeah.
What's up, Alshon Jeffrey? Where are you?
All right.
Bragg's in the stands, by the way, in the chat. On vacation. Said he was not going to be on social media watching the show. We really appreciate it, Gregory, and we miss you. I'll speak for myself. I miss you.
Did his phone get hacked? He's tweeting about how good the Packers wide receivers are?
It's a possibility.
Did he leave his phone by the pool and someone picked it up?
Addie stole his phone, and she's ahead of the curve.
Bragg said, Packers wide receivers don't get enough credit because they weren't big-time names, but they can play.
I wasn't reading his actual, what he was saying, which is kind of how I, like to live my life with Greg.
Just be around him, but don't really...
Notice, don't listen.
Okay.
Keep a healthy distance.
And he strongly disagrees with Keenan over Diggs.
What a shock.
Okay.
Listen.
No, he's saying he would take Diggs.
Okay.
For 1 year.
Are you sure?
Keenan over Diggs for 1 year?
Oh,
no way.
Okay. Thank you.
Apparently, it's actually you can't read issue.
Yeah, no, that reading has been a problem for me.
So I actually created a poll in our chat here, and the results were overwhelmingly in favor of the Bears moving forward. 86% of the vote.
Yeah.
That's our guys. That's what you are. Stay loyal. Stay true. Logic is overrated.
All right, we got some more. We got some snidbits for you.
Snidbittery?
Yeah. We saw this on Twitter kind of right before the show started, but our guy Javon Dexter making some moves on the old X app this morning. Someone had tweeted yesterday, Javon Dexter and Zach Pickens are quite underwhelming and not trustworthy to make an impact on the D-line. And that was in response to another tweet, which was drop your hottest take about the 2024 Bears below.
Mm-hmm.
And that was his hot take. Dexter and Pickens, underwhelming, not trustworthy. To which Javon Dexter this morning responded, don't delete this.
All right, Dex.
I love it.
You put that on your mirror in your bathroom, Big Dex. That's what I do. Every single one of you chats, especially the person who said today, less car, more Braggs. That's going right on my mirror.
Don't delete it.
Don't delete.
Yep.
Mr. Slugs. Whatever, Slugsy.
Slugsy.
Got to be a cousin of Braggs. So.
I love that, though. I love that. That's definitely Bragg's burner account. I like that energy from Dexter.
Me too.
He's huge. He's a huge piece of this. He's literally huge, and he's also a huge piece of this season. And the Bears going to the next level. Also have a snid bit from our friend Kevin Fishbane.
Really?
Making the program. Because the NFL Network released their lineup of preseason games. So Bears fans that don't live in Chicago, because all the games will be on locally. But if you live elsewhere, Kevin Fishbane points out that all 4 Bears preseason games will be on national television.
Does that mean that I can watch the Bears-Bengals preseason game at family camp?
That's right.
That's huge.
They got NFL Network there?
There's bars in the downtown. So, I could even perhaps, come on the show. Carm 3-minute snidbit reaction.
You might need to whiteboard your family camp thing, too, for any new listeners that haven't, have joined us since August of last year.
I go to family camp without a family. It's amazing. I'm the greatest. We go water skiing. We do arts and crafts. We play tennis. We go swimming. We sit around the fire at night and sing songs.
Who do you go there with?
Yeah, whose family are you doing these things with?
I do it randomly.
You just get adopted every year?
What do people think of? So
I have a family that invites me up to pre-family camp, and I stay with them for a couple of days.
Are all the other people at this family camp with families?
Most people are there with families, and then you have your randos who've, got their own, situations that are going on. They're just enjoying their time. Life is to be lived, Hoge.
They don't think you're creepy?
Do you remember Encore? Someone probably do. When you want more, it's Encore.
Yeah.
But, you had to buy all these big things. But I don't have a family. And then you said, great, you can have mine. I'll be over on Wednesday for dinner. It's the same thing. Bo Chanton, you want to come with? You're in.
You sure this isn't like Aaron Rodgers camp?
He should come
just
too.
Doing ayahuasca and
What's he? He's hanging. He's on the presidential campaign. I love this guy.
Yeah, missing OTAs today or mini camp for the campaign trail. All right. Yes. So the Hall of Fame game, of course, is on ESPN and ABC, and then the 3 other preseason games against the Bills, the Bengals, Chiefs will all be on NFL Network and, of course, Fox 32 in Chicago. So get your Caleb Williams if he plays. Who knows who's actually going to be playing in those games, but they're there for you.
He's playing. He needs to be playing. I'll talk to Flus about that. I'm sure he's on board and doesn't need to hear from me, but I'll make sure to get in contact with the Flusy and let him know that Caleb needs to play in games to be ready for the season. I think that's a good choice.
Okay.
You agree with that, do you not?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do on a week-to-week basis. I think it would be irresponsible for Matt Eberflus or anyone to be like, he needs to play this many snaps.
Yeah, let's see how he looks.
Let's see how it looks.
Sure.
I hope he gets one series in the Hall of Fame game just so we can say we saw him. I think it'd be more likely he plays more against the Bills. That practice they set up against the Bengals, it's interesting that they only did 1, not 2, because remember they did 2 against the Colts last year and then didn't play in the game.
Right.
So
that sucked.
Maybe, and that's their only home preseason game. So for the fans that do show up at Soldier Field that day, they're not going to be happy if you say, hey, Caleb Williams isn't playing today because he practiced against the Bengals on Thursday.
I mean, real talk. Look, the Bears started the season out last year 0-4. They were not ready for the year. They looked terrible. So I would hope that, different situations, but they were very, very, very conservative with having guys practice and the way they practice, I would even say, in training camp last year. Now you've got a rookie quarterback and vet wide receivers coming in, the whole thing. I would hope that they learned from the way they started the year last year.
Yeah. Super chats. What do we got? We got
Super chat, super people.
Yep. One, we just got a freebie here for Larry. Because Larry Strickland says, happy birthday to me.
Larry, happy birthday, buddy. Appreciate you. You're a consistent Larry. Are you a diehard Larry? If you're not, get in there, Larry. I want to talk about you.
Yeah, because apparently we have no new diehards today. I'm blaming Carm.
It's very unfortunate. We're doing a diehard overtime on the show this week, either tomorrow or Thursday or Friday. As in, we haven't decided, but there will be one this week. I'll be hanging out.
Okay.
I know you've got stuff going on. I will be there. Maybe even Braggs will pop in on his vacation for a diehard OT.
Ooh.
He says it's going to rain all week there. You know he's doing nothing. You know that Jenny's bothered by him. You know that Addie doesn't even want to see him, so he might as well come on the diehard OT.
Bear Forever 14, $10 super chat. Hey guys, don't know if you plan on having a tailgate that week, but I am bringing my mom with me all the way from Montana to see Vikings at Bears. Hope to see you guys there. Bear down.
Of course we're having a tailgate that week.
I'm sure we are.
I found an event schedule in Notion, and I did see that day in there.
Wow.
So I think it's happening. Stay tuned for more info.
Okay. No, I would bank on very likely we have a tailgate that day for you, and we cannot wait to see you there.
It's headed into Thanksgiving. We're tailgating. Let's go.
And Rodimus Prime.
Rodimus Prime.
Okay, 1999. Is there a fail point where Eberflus doesn't get 2 years and Waldron is the insurance policy, given Waldron is a head coach candidate already? Is he really a head coach candidate?
Yeah, I was going to push back on that, Rodimus. He doesn't reek of head coach candidate to me. But to answer the first part of your question, is there a fail point? Yes, there is. Some people think that if they miss the playoffs, he wouldn't survive. Do you agree with that? Forget who I was talking to the other day, but I was having that discussion. Because I think he does. Like, if they go 8-9, miss the playoffs, depending on how they get there, I don't think that's a lock that he's getting fired. But some people think if they don't make the playoffs, the Flus is in trouble.
In fact, I just Googled Shane Waldron head coach interview to see if he has gotten any of these.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what seasidejoe.com is, but one of the things that popped up, nobody seems to want Shane Waldron. Is that a bad sign? That was after the 2022 season when he had kind of, turned Geno Smith's career around.
He's our Shane Waldron. We don't need him being wanted.
So I've got one knock. I've been looking into Shane Waldron's play calling lately because I'm weird like that. He runs 2 tight end sets at a top 7 rate in the league, and that he runs play action at a bottom 10 rate. And that just seems like an odd combo to me, where you have a potential for an extra blocker.
Yeah.
Like you're giving away your run plays is what I'm trying to say.
Haven't had a game yet.
Mm-hmm.
Steven's already out. He doesn't like the play calling already.
That's what I appreciate about Steven. The man's ahead of the curve.
He is. No, it's a good point.
I'll say this.
Yeah.
That was a scarring, at least as far as him being a head coach ever.
So why don't you put as much stock in what Gerald Everett says?
Because he didn't say it right in front of my face, and I didn't see him. I didn't see him pause so awkwardly when we brought it up that it felt real.
In a room where there's like 90 dudes, that 5 of them don't like every coach that exists. You think it was unanimous?
Hoge.
They all loved Bill Belichick.
Yes, Hoge. Yes, Hoge.
It's one guy.
You've done a lot of interviews in the history of your long, illustrious career.
Yeah.
How many times have you had a player that you talked to when you asked about a coach give that level of response?
Is this live? That's what he said.
Is this live? And good luck with that. I mean, it was
of all the moments we've had here at CHGO, that is definitely the one that gets brought up to me the most by random strangers.
And I don't want to out anybody or whatever, but we talked to him briefly afterwards. He didn't really walk it back. I mean, he wasn't like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't say. That's not what I meant." That's not what he said. He didn't kill the guy either, but it wasn't. He wasn't. There was nothing to misinterpret there. Let's say it like that.
Okay. What do we? Patrick, let's go to Patrick. $5 super chat. I think Montez with Yannick or Walker will be good this season. Thank you, Patrick. Larry with a $10 super chat. I'm a diehard Carm. You didn't like my MJ Kobe comparison when you shouted me out. LOL.
Larry, I apologize for that. I love everything you do. Your consistency and your presence here on a daily basis impresses me. And Larry, you're like Bird, man. Clutch as can be. Baseline 3, Chicago Stadium, 88, 3 in a row, going in. Extension, walk off the court. Congratulations, Larry.
And then, just to derail the show, $5 super chat from Braggs in the stands. Give Jenny a diehard shout out in Jordan voice.
Wow, we make love. Certainly, Jenny. Diehard. Late night activities. Challenging. Probably lacks a little bit of motivation. But she's committed. And she's in a commitment with a man who should be committed.
How drunk is Braggs
And
in
released.
Florida right now at 2 o'clock?
I hope they're having great sex down there. Congratulations. Quickly on the shout-out snidbit, end of the show.
Yeah.
First off, Phoenix Gill.
Yeah.
The son of Kendall Gill. Saying no to Illinois. And
Spurs the Illini.
saying yes to Northwestern.
Love that.
Mom went to NU. Dad went to Illinois. Mom knows best. Might not have started at Illinois. Might not have played at Illinois. We'll take him at Northwestern. Let's go. I don't know how good Phoenix is, but I think it's a hell of a get for Northwestern from what I understand. So Phoenix Gill picking the cat over the Illini, amongst others, is just beautiful. That's awesome.
And most importantly, he's Ignatius.
Oh, yeah, he's an
Wolfpack.
Ignatius guy.
Yeah.
That's your guy.
So
Not many Ignatius guys have gone cat. Have they?
I don't know of any.
I mean, that's a hell of a...
They had Nana Egwu go to Illinois.
There we go.
But
That was awesome. And let me just take a run at because I'm playing more USTA tennis this summer. Hoge, I know you care about this. I know that Otto and TWE and Illini and Braggs and Jenny all care about this. And you rate yourself. And what I've and these people, they fake rate or they lose on purpose so they can win matches and they play down. And let me tell you something. Every single one of you who does that, you suck. Compete against who you should be competing against. Take the losses when they come. Take the wins when they come. Quit trying to play down a level so you can win matches. You stink. It's brutal. You're ruining the whole system. Be better.
That's like people who lie about their handicap.
Yeah, I mean, what are we doing? You're not a pro. You're never going to be a pro. You're never going to make money doing this. Be a legit human being. Fake UST rating people, you suck. Every single one of you.
I feel like it's the second time you mentioned that in 2 weeks.
That's bugging me.
You getting scammed?
I'm just getting worked.
I just losing.
I'm just getting worked. I'm looking like you're not playing your level. You're a loser. Thank you.
Okay. Was there anything else?
No, I feel better now.
I'd just like to shout out the White Sox for I was watching the Stanley Cup final last night. Entertaining game. Game ends. Didn't even know they were playing the Mariners, but it popped up on the old YouTube TV, so I clicked over. Sox are up 4-0. We'll see what the odds are for Mariners to win this game. Plus 2,500. Lock it in for $5. Basically jumped out of my chair when I don't know whoever hit that grade. I don't even know who hit it. Whoever hit the grand slam.
Cal Raleigh.
Huh?
Cal Raleigh.
Cal Raleigh. Raleigh.
Raleigh? I don't know.
Cal Raleigh. Most baseball name of all time.
Are you coming to Milwaukee? Sorry to derail this Hoge. Congratulations on your $5 bet victory. Good job knowing your White Sox. Are you coming to Milwaukee for our bus trip on June 29th?
I'm to be. I would love to.
Yeah.
I have not been invited.
You're invited just now by me.
Okay, but yeah.
We'll pick you up at Circa in Waukegan.
I think people are worried I'm gonna wear Brewer stuff though.
Great, wear Brewer stuff. I think that's fantastic. I think you should.
Okay. I'm gonna be a game time decision on that one.
All right. Jack,
a little hard to plan life right now.
Yeah, you do. You're doing great, too, by the way. $4.99 from Jackie Humphrey. I counter Braggs in the stands and have Carm stop the MJ voice. Love you, Carm. Right there with you on Bajent, but no more MJ voice.
I just don't get it.
What don't you get?
It's not an MJ voice. I don't get it.
Okay.
I find it entertaining. I just don't get it. Pizzatola, I do get. Pizzatola and I
can't help you if you don't get the MJ voice.
$2. Carm's Jordan is as bad as his tennis game.
Pizzatola, those are fighting words. And I now will officially hunt you down and find out who the hell you are, and we will meet each other for the 2 hot dog special at your local Pizzatola.
Yeah. Braggs is wondering if he can chant Green Bay sucks in Milwaukee. I've already addressed that.
I think you should, Gregory. I think you should walk right down into one of the large sections there at the front and start and turn around with a Bears shirt on and scream Green Bay sucks as long as possible before, security comes.
Yeah, okay. And then meanwhile, Noah will revoke his diehard membership if the MJ voice stops. It's a very polarizing topic.
It is.
He likes it. He likes it. He doesn't want you to stop.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Certainly.
Do us a favor.
Another show went by rapidly. Quite frankly. Quite naturally.
Like, I listened to some MJ interviews. He does not sound like that.
I'll give you quite naturally. You don't remember quite naturally?
I don't remember quite naturally.
No, it's youth. You're just young.
Yeah.
How about when we unite our unification? You ever heard that one? It's so good. Okay. We really need to up our unity to be united in our unification. And I know exactly what he's talking about. That's why he's Jordan. That's why he's the greatest to ever play anything.
I do forget. You covered his entire career.
Was that his first ever playoff game, buddy? 1984 game, $3.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. We are out of here. Tomorrow we have a fun show with OTAs. Rookie-only OTAs.
Huge guest on Thursday in studio.
Yeah, I guess that's confirmed at this point.
And we have another big time guest coming up who will be on the old Zoomer.
Is that confirmed?
Confirmed.
Words are locked in Slack.
Locked in.
When did that happen? During the show?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was wondering
Yes,
what the update was on that.
We are rocking and rolling. You will be happy. We're not going to say who it is because,
Yeah. We got big guests lined up.
Everybody-
That's the bottom line. Tomorrow we're going to be on. We're aiming for a 2 o'clock show tomorrow, post-practice. We'll give you the best and worst from what we see, and I'm really interested to see how practice works with rookies only. It's called quarterback school. It's not going to be very long practice. Should be fun, though. Another opportunity to see Caleb Williams in person. We'll tell you all about it. And in the meantime, please follow us on Twitter at CHGO_Bears. We'll have some content there from practice. And, of course, allchgo.com where you can read Nicholas Moriano. We'll be back tomorrow. Please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. See you later.
We all silly like the mayor.